Morning is broken. I'm your consecrated host, Jonathan, consecrated by baptism and confirmation. I'm not sure where Father Jeff went. He said he's going to be here. He's like, oh, it's going to be a great show, yada, yada, yada. But then...
Jonathan,
Father Jeff?
are you in the other room?
Yeah, the show started.
I'm over here in the kitchen. I was inspired to make some lunch today.
Oh.
Get in here. Join me for our cooking show.
Well,
I'm your consecrated host, Father Jeff, consecrated by holy orders.
I guess we're going to the kitchen. Let's go. Father Jeff, I started the morning show. It started without you.
I know. I saw you. I heard you over there. I'm like, what's he doing over there?
Well, convenient of you to just come in and start the show with me.
Good morning to you too.
Oh, gosh. I've been wanting to say something for a while on the show, and it's kind of applicable now. I made myself a fool.
Wait a minute. Can I hear that again?
I made myself a fool.
Do tell.
Because I started the show without you and I didn't know what was going on. And so I heard this quote attributed to Abraham Lincoln. I don't know if it's true or not. But it says, it is better to let people think of you as a fool than to speak up and remove any doubt.
That's a good quote. I like that.
So you're making lunch?
So yeah, I think last Friday, whatever, we were talking about favorite foods and
oh my gosh,
all of those. It got me hungry. We talked about the need to do another cooking show.
Yep.
We haven't done that yet. So I thought, what can I make that will be delightful and delicious and something everyone at home can eat? Well, this is not a complicated recipe. Pretty simple, basic well, maybe not basic ingredients, but I'll tell you how to make them basic. So, Jonathan, we got ourselves just a regular onion.
I think that might be the only regular ingredient you have.
This is a Vidalia sweet onion because I just like what it does. Okay, brings a nice little sweetness to the thing. This over here, about a pound of pork sausage. That's also a normal ingredient.
Your clock's running a few minutes late, Father Jeff.
This here is a little white wine. This
from
here,
Italy?
This is an Italian white. Yep,
of course
from
it
Gavi. Nice. This right here is some grated pecorino cheese. Now remember, that's the salty
the pecorino romano.
Pecorino romano, yes. Then we've got a few ingredients that you might not have at home, but this is what I want to show you. So this is tartufata black truffle sauce. So it's the black truffle mushrooms that are harvested in the ground in Italy, and it's kind of all chopped up. That isn't an earthy smell. You can get this at like places like World Market. You can order it online. It really gives you the earthy, mushroomy funk that you need in this recipe.
How's it compared to that fancy mushroom that people go gaga over here in Nebraska?
Very different.
Oh.
The morel mushrooms don't have nearly the flavor. So this is a
so you're saying the morel mushrooms
punch
are
of
just
flavor.
garbage.
Not going to do well here.
Okay.
No. If you don't have this, then go to your store, and I would recommend getting the shiitake mushroom. Different than the button mushrooms or the little brown mushrooms. The shiitakes are really skinny with the long stem here. They just have more of a mushroom flavor.
Okay.
So if you have to, get yourself a half pint or whatever they come in of this.
I'm very confused. I don't know where you're going with this, but we're along for the ride.
And then I've got Italian cream sauce. When I go to Italy, this is the souvenir I come home with. I go to the grocery store because you cannot get this in the United States. Sometimes you can order it off of Amazon, but it is panna da cucina, basically cooking cream. If you can't get this, I have made this recipe with heavy cream. So go ahead and substitute with heavy cream. But you're going to see when we cut this bad boy open that it's going to be thick and, yeah, it's not like regular cream. This is a thick thing.
This is regular cream gone bad.
No. It's still it's like fresh cream, creme fraiche, or sour cream without the sour. It's that thick, that thick consistency.
Have you ever had Mexican cream?
I don't know that I have. Should
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah, because
It
that's
might
also
work.
quick. We're getting a fire
I'm just
started over here.
Checking my water if it's coming to a boil over here so that we'll be ready for the pasta when we're ready to throw the pasta in. So we're making rigatoni alla Norcina today.
Oh!
Rigatoni alla Norcina. And Norcina is a cream sauce that that is known, that is famous in the Umbrian region of Italy. And this, it's made basically with sausage. They're famous for their sausages there, so if you can get some great Italian sausage, that'd be good. And then
Like a Vienna sausage?
truffle mushrooms. No, not a hot dog.
That's an Italian sausage.
Vienna is in Austria.
That is
not
true.
an Italian sausage.
It's Vienna, Austria, Italiana.
Right. So what I'm doing right here is I'm going to dice up, or I'm going to finely, not dice, I'm going to finely cut my sweet onion here into little itty bitty pieces, because I don't want it to be too big, but I do want these, I want that lovely flavor to come through. So let me heat up my pan on the stove.
And I'm just going to get behind the camera, so...
And I'm going to throw a little olive oil in there. Get that warmed. And then we're going to chop up this onion. And we're going to make it very small.
So you're not dicing it, but you're dicing it?
Yeah, a dice would be much bigger. You want to cut this very small.
Have you ever used one of those choppers, Father Jeff?
I have. And if that's your thing, go for it. Not my thing.
He likes to feel the crunch of the onion underneath the blade of the knife.
Exactly. I just like to know what my knife cuts. So I'm doing this side a little differently to show you. You could do it a couple different ways, whatever your preference of cutting. So I'm cutting very skinny slices here, and then I will cut them the other way.
I zoomed in so
to
they
get
could
them
see.
tiny. And this is not a very pungent onion, so I am not all weepy today, so that's a good thing. So now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to cut it the other way.
Do you have any remedies for when your eyes start to water? Don't rub them. That's my advice.
Do not rub your eyes, especially when you've got onion juice all over them. That is a bad thing. So here's my onion. I've taken this onion, and you may not need this much of an onion. This is a lot of onion.
You got the whole one.
That was a big onion. You could probably go with half an onion, and we might not put this whole thing into the skillet. I'm going to grab myself my food mover and scoop that up and take it over here to the stove, throw it in. And that's what we're going to call, I think that was not quite the whole onion, so let's say that was like a medium onion. So finely chop up a medium onion and get that going in your skillet. And while that's doing its thing, I'm going to get this water going again because I think it won't take long. We'll get my sea salt out, because you know I like to use sea salt in my pasta.
Yeah, you can't have anything generic. No, none of that Morton salt.
You are a troublemaker and rigatoni. So, getting our onion going. We'll throw the pork in there as soon as we get a little bit of translucence on here. We don't want it to brown.
And what kind of pork was that again, Father Jeff?
So, I just got regular pork sausage. If you want, you could get Italian sausage, But I would try to get Italian sausage that doesn't have the fennel in it, because that would be quite overpowering. There's 3 types of Italian sausage usually. You can get the hot Italian sausage. Don't recommend it for this. The mild Italian sausage, that would be a thing, especially if it did not have fennel. And sweet Italian sausage tends to have basil in it. And I would also recommend not using basil for this recipe.
All right.
So go with a mild or just a plain pork sausage. I'm going to throw that rigatoni in here. I like rigatoni for this one because we're going to get the big crumbles of meat and a good cream sauce. And so rigatoni is a nice big tube that it's going to let it just get in there and eat nicely. All right, so we've just done this for a few minutes. It's sweated down a bit. I don't want it to brown.
So you want it a little translucent.
A little translucent. Going to take my pork sausage here. Stick it into the skillet, but I'm going to wash that hand before I get before we get it going. That is a big meatball. So let's break up this sausage here and start browning it up. I find sausage to be always so kind of sticky when you first get it into the skillet. Oh, I forgot to salt my water. Here we just brought that out. So we're going to wait till it comes back to a boil, and then I'm going to throw the salt in.
And I joked about not having any Morton salts, but you actually got Morton sea salt. So look at that.
Look at
Not
that.
too good for Father Jeff.
I just like sea salt because it's tiny. And as I said before, oh, this is a new one. Your pasta water should taste like the ocean. Sea salt. So now that we're back to a boil, throw that sea salt in there. Because remember, this is the only time your pasta has a chance to get flavor in it. So you want to get it salted, and we're going to let that baby boil. We're going to brown our pork. What is today, Jonathan? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
I've lost track of all my days. I haven't seen you since the weekend. You were headed to Kansas, were you not?
That was when
last week?
That was when you last saw me.
That was when I last saw you, and then oh my
then
gosh.
you went to Houston,
And I was in. Oh yeah, so I was the one that was away.
and now you're back from Houston.
It was a nice trip. Warmer than it was here, but at least it wasn't so humid.
Well, with Houston, you really never know.
I know. It was weird though putting shorts back on. Okay, so we're just gonna let that. I'm gonna.
Does that mean brown? You're just cooking it.
We're cooking it through. We want it to cook all the way through, and then we're gonna dump a little bit of wine in there.
White wine, okay.
A little dry Italian white. Just when it's all done, we'll let it soak up, burn off the alcohol. You know, I really love this Norcina, and there's a lot of different ways to make Norcina. When you look up Norcina online, perhaps, you're going to find all kinds of different versions of what makes a Norcina. This one that I'm making is kind of a tradition Umbrian, so that would be the state of Italy that we're in, Umbria, version of Norcina. So you want to cook all that pork sausage.
Italy has states?
Well, yeah, the regions. Just like, you know,
Okay.
Italy is broken up into different regions. Umbria, Lombardy, Tuscany.
I've heard
Sicily.
of Tuscany and Sicily. Okay.
So, yeah, Sardinia.
You know, one of our parishioners has made a Norcina dish.
Who's that?
Jason Oberg.
Oh, yes, I know that. Yeah, this is a favorite. He was a classmate of mine over in seminary, recall.
Then he dropped out.
Well, you know, sometimes we don't all We don't all make the cut.
No.
Yeah, and I know this is a favorite of his family, so that when they have birthdays and whatever, and they request, what are you gonna make? They want Dad's Norcina.
Is it this type as well?
I don't think I've had Jason's Norcina. So
we should have a cook-off.
I'm going to say that mine's better.
As if you'd say anything else.
Oh! So I like to break up the meat because I don't want big hunks of meat. We don't want great big hunks in here. So I need one of those break-up.
I was about to tell you they have a tool, and
they have a tool and those are really nice.
It works fantastic.
I used to have one, but I think I left it in the kitchen at the last rectory where I was at.
Well,
so I need another one of those.
Mine is bright green, so I can find it easily in the drawer.
Yeah, you should have brought it with you today, Jonathan.
Well, if I'd have known we were actually cooking.
Well, we had talked about it enough. You should have known it was going to come at any day now. And that should have said, I need to put that in my back pocket. So you could have whipped it out and said, look at this, Father. I'm ready to go.
You know what? I usually do. I think I just left it in my other pants.
These things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so the meat is cooking up nicely. So I'm going to turn that way down now to medium-low.
Get a nice simmer going.
Just let it, finish. Doesn't really need to get browned. It just needs to cook. Just needs to cook through. So it's cooked with those onions.
And no spices or anything seasoning on that?
Nope. Now we're going to take just, half a cup or so of wine and throw that in there.
Father, I noticed you didn't offer me any wine today. I think it's because last time when we cooked and I drank some wine, you said I was pretty worthless the rest of the day.
Yeah, it didn't work so well in the office after that. It is a little early in the day, Jonathan, for wine, so you should not be having
I can't keep up with people like you. You lived in Italy. They groomed you well for this kind of stuff, not me.
That's right. Okay, so we just pour that little bit of wine in here and let the alcohol cook off. So we've got it at medium heat here, and we're just going to let that moisture cook out of there. While we're doing that, I'm going to give my pasta a bite test. Hot, hot, hot. Not yet. Okay. So, that's cooking down, simmering the liquid out of that. Pasta's finishing up. What we want to do over here, back at the table, is you will need 1 to 2 tablespoons of this. Or like I said, get yourself some cremini mushrooms and dice them up really, really finely. And then maybe saute these up in a separate skillet to kind of get them down to about 1 and 2 tablespoons.
So with a little oil?
Just little butter, oil, just a little bit. And then you'll need about, half a cup, 2/3 of a cup of Pecorino Romano cheese. And then this much, 200 milliliters of cooking cream. So what is that? 200 milliliters, look it up. Tell you what it is in cups. I always have a second because sometimes I like mine to be a little creamier.
Okay.
So while that's cooking down and getting that liquid out of there, I am going to open my panna cream here.
Father Jeff, I've always thought metric stuff was interesting because it just makes sense, and the United States doesn't make sense in not using the metric system.
I know.
So I think that's something we could change, as well as daylight savings, because my kids are still adjusting.
Are you serious?
Joshua still wakes up extra early, and the other day he woke up his brother, he woke me up.
Oh my gosh.
He woke Genevieve up, he woke Jim up. It was a mess. But one thing the United States does have right is temperature.
Is what?
Temperature.
Oh.
Fahrenheit is way better than
Do
Celsius.
you find that superior?
In everyday practical purposes, yes. I understand for big scientific stuff, Celsius might make a little more sense. But 100 degrees to 32 degrees, we know what we're talking about. Celsius, 0 is 32 degrees.
Well, I think it's just kind of like everything else. I mean,
No.
again, the temperature makes sense when you talk about 0 to 100. But it's weird when you think about, like, if it were 30-some degrees, that would be, like, 90-some degrees. I think because if you have a temperature of 40, you're dead. You know, like, I don't know what body temperature in Celsius is, but it's in the upper 30s.
I mean, you'd get used to it. But I prefer knowing it's 93, 92. All that makes a difference. Looks like we're al dente.
All right. So I'm going to take that off the stove, dump it in the colander, and I'm not quite ready to throw it into the pasta sauce, but we're just going to let it hang out there. Remember, never, ever, 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 ever rinse your pasta off. We want all those good starches. It's going to clump into a big ball over there, well, since I'm not quite ready to throw it right in here, but that's okay, because once it gets the sauce all over it, it's going to be delicious.
Some people actually retain a little bit of...
You can retain a little bit of the
The
water.
the water.
Depending on your sauce, if you need to starch up your sauce to tighten it a bit. Okay, most of the liquid is out of here, so we're going to put this down to medium-low again. And I'm going to take my salsa. Too big of a spoon to go in there. Let's grab a teaspoon. And we're going to put a big dollop or two. So we want about 2 tablespoons of that joyous stuff in there.
If you can't find it at World Market, just go out back and get a little bit of that potting soil, and it's pretty much the same thing.
Kind of is. Got that funky, earthy flavor. So we're going to stir that up in there into that meat. It really doesn't need to cook. I just want to get the meat all covered with that beautiful black truffle mushroom earthiness.
Gonna bring it over so they can see what
Exactly.
you were talking about.
So we're covering the meat with those black specks of mushroom. That looks delicious. Now,
It looks like you went a little crazy with some pepper.
no pepper. Yeah, it does. But no pepper. So here is the cooking cream. And you'll see that it starts and it's very thick. It's a very thick cream.
Mm-hmm.
So that, now we're just going to stir that up in here. And like I said, you can use heavy cream for this. I love using the Italian cooking cream just because it has that thicker consistency. And it keeps forever because it's, you know, it's in this box, it's on the shelf. It's, you don't have to refrigerate it until it's been opened, but you use a whole box at once. Now we're going to take most of the cheese and sprinkle that in there and reserve some for our pasta plates. And we're going to stir that cheese in there, and that'll help thicken up that sauce as well. That salt. So you really don't even need to salt this now because you've got the sausage and you've got the pecorino, which is that salty sheep's milk.
Yeah, that pecorino, that does more than enough.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty much it, Jonathan. So now we're going to grab the pasta. And I cooked a pound of pasta, but you know, depending on your sauce, I wouldn't go tossing all of the pasta in right away, because sometimes if there's too much and then your sauce is like barely covering it. So I always add the pasta as I go. And this is why I like to use one of these great big deep skillets, because there's a lot of, looks like we're going to probably get to use most of that pasta. And it's so deep, I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to put it back into this pot so I can give it a real good stir without losing any. And if I do, Staples is right beneath me, as he always is when I'm cooking in the kitchen.
Let's see. There's Staples.
All right, yep. We're going to just toss all that pasta in there. Stir it around. And we're ready to eat, Jonathan.
I've been ready, Father Jeff.
Are you, I know, you never eat your breakfast before you come here.
No, I can't. We start at 8 a.m. How am I supposed to eat breakfast before that?
I've already had breakfast and second breakfast by the time you get to my place. All right, Jonathan, let's put some pasta sauce in here. And a little bit of this, sprinkle it with a little bit more of this cheese. I suppose you'll need a fork.
Oh, probably. Do I get the first bite?
You do.
He poisoned it.
I don't know how old that cream is.
He was ready for a new co-host. All right, let me make sure I'm in frame.
Come on in here, Jonathan.
Okay.
And while you're tasting that, I'm going to get myself my own plate.
You know, it's never, what should I say? It's hard to look good while eating. I think that's why you bring me in to eat, so you can enjoy it off camera. I don't want to burn myself, and I won't taste anything and I'll look silly.
Jonathan, you don't have to worry about looking silly. So what do you think of that?
That's very good. I've never eaten anything like this. It was very good. You can definitely taste your tuco or whatever.
The salsa di tartufo.
The dirt.
Yep. That that beautiful, beautiful mushroom all over that pasta. You have the delicious sauce in there, or the sausage with the cream sauce, and the salty cheese. It all works so well together.
It does.
So to recap, pound of rigatoni. It's really the best shape of pasta for this sauce. You want 200 milliliters, or whatever that measures out to in cups, of heavy cream. If you cannot get the panna da cucina, about a half a cup of grated pecorino romano. You want a medium-sized onion. You want pork sausage. Pound of pork sausage. That's it. It's easier than a hamburger helper, and it's so much better.
Harder to mess up than a carbonara.
That's right. So there you go. We're going to have some breakfast here, and wish you a great day. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the 18th of November.
Time's flying by.
Thanksgiving's a week away.
Arrivederci, y'all.